Estro is especially designed for the early stage breast cancer, whereas RTOG is applicable both for the Estro as well as the locally advanced disease. Estro guidelines generally have a smaller CTV compared to the RTOG. So my flow of discussion now would be, I will first discussing the breast CTV followed by chest wall CTV, and then we will discuss about the nodal stations. So coming to the breast CTV, here there is a basic, there is a small difference in the nomenclature between the two guidelines. Here the Estro guidelines call this CTV as residual breast CTV. Uh, CTV. So now we will compare both the borders in the RTOG and the Estro groups. So coming to the RTOG group, here the cranial border, they will take the clinical reference and the secondary insertion, whereas in the Estro group, they will take the clinical reference and they will go maximally up to the sternoclavicular junction. So here we can see a slightly the Estro volume is slightly at a higher level than compared to the RTOG guidelines. Again, the caudal border is almost similar for the both the guidelines. Here we will take the clinical reference and um, until the visualization, until there is a loss of the apparent breast. Apparent breast. Sorry. Okay. Coming to the anterior surface, here there is again a difference between the RTOG and the Estro group. Here the RTOG includes the skin, whereas Estro, they will exclude the skin and take the 5 mm margin from the skin surface. Uh, Here we can see the RTOG. Here we can see RTOG has included the skin surface, uh, whereas in Estro we have excluded 5 mm. We have taken 5 mm underneath the skin surface. This is the main difference between the two guidelines. So again, coming to the posterior border is again similar between RTOG and Estro. Both have excluded the pectoral muscles, both have excluded the chest wall and rib muscles. So there is no difference between these two uh, borders. And now coming to the lateral border is again they will both consider the clinical reference and both take the mid-axillary line. But here again there is a slight difference where in RTOG we will exclude the latissimus dorsi, whereas in Estro group we will take the border just anterior to the lateral thoracic artery. So So here we can see this is a lateral thoracic artery, and now I will take this is the Estro guidelines. In RTOG, we will take this is the latissimus dorsi muscle. So in RTOG, we will take sorry. So in RTOG, we will take the border till here. But whereas in Estro, this is the lateral thoracic artery, so we will take the border here. This is the basic difference. So more or less in most of the patients, it will be remain the same. Like doesn't make much difference. But in some patients, there will be difference in this lateral border. So coming back to the medial border, it is a sternal rib junction. It is more or less same for both the RTOG and Estro groups. But however, when the medial perforating mammary vessels are seen, we should take border just lateral to these muscles. But however, in the day-to-day practice, until and unless the contrast is given, it will be difficult to identify these muscles in a non-contrast CT. So in this case, again, we can take till the sternal edge. So here we can identify this vessel. So we will take the border just lateral to this vessel. If we can't identify this vessel, we can easily take till the rib and the sternal junction. One second. Hello, am I audible?
You're audible. Continue, Dr. Indira.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. To sum up, what are the sorry. To sum up, what are the basic differences between the both these guidelines? Both these guidelines is that the cranial border in ESTRO is slightly higher than the RTOG CTV, and in the skin, whereas the anterior border, we will include the skin in the RTOG guidelines, whereas in ESTRO guidelines, we will take the anterior boundary at 5 below the skin surface. So this is the basic difference between these two guidelines in the breast wall CTV. Otherwise, in the all other borders, there is no much difference between these two guidelines. So now moving ahead with the chest wall contouring. Now again, the ESTO uses the term thoracic wall CTV, whereas RTOG uses just as chest wall. So now we will move ahead with the borders. Cranially, it is RTOG uses the caudal border of the clavicle head. It is more, Estro uses the inferior edge of the sternoclavicular joint. More or less, these are the same. There is no much difference when we contour actually. Caudal border is also similar between these two guidelines. Here we use the clinical reference and loss of apparent contralateral breast. It is equal in both the contouring guidelines. And coming to the anterior border, similar to what we have seen in the breast CTV, here also skin is included in the RTOG, and 5 under the skin surface is taken in the ESTRO guidelines. And the main difference and the most important difference here is the posterior border. Here we will take the posterior border at rib pleural interface. That means that means we have included the pectoral muscles, we have included the chest wall and the ribs, unlike the RTOG in the breast. But Estro follows the same that they have used for the breast CTV. Breast CTV, they don't include the pectoral muscles, they don't include the chest wall muscles, and they don't include the ribs. This is the major difference between these two groups. I can see here. This is the RTOG guidelines. They have included the dorsal border is taken till the pleural surface and the ribs and the pleural surface, and they have included the skin. So, but whereas in Estro, we can see that they have excluded the pectoral group of muscles, they have excluded the chest wall muscles, and they have excluded the ribs, and they have uh, and they have taken a margin 5 below the skin surface. So this is the basic difference between these two contouring guidelines. Basic and the most important difference. So coming back to the lateral border is also similar, and like they take the clinical reference and the mid axillary line in the both the groups, and the medial border is also similar in the both the groups, and they take the sternal rib junction in the sternal rib junction. So so here we can see clearly that RTOG volume is much bigger than the Estro volume. Estro volume, they have excluded the 5 from the skin surface, and they have excluded the rib and the intercostal and the pectoral group of muscles, whereas Estro has included both of this. So that there is a huge, we can see a huge volume is included in the RTOG, whereas Estro has taken a lesser volume. So the basic difference here we can see as it as the dorsal border and the anterior border are the main differences between the chest wall. To complete our discussion, I would just like to add one more point to our discussion. Why this dorsal border is important actually? So see, I mean, see in RTOG group, when the dorsal border is taken till the pleural surface, the dose to the heart and the LAD, left anterior descending artery, is increased. But when we take contour it according to the Estro guidelines, the dose to the heart and the left anterior descending artery is drastically reduced. So it becomes an most important when we actually contour the left sided breast cancer. So to complete our discussion, I mean, like this is a paper published by F.O.R.O et al. In 2017, in which they have seen that 28.9% of the local failure in the post-mastectomy patients is seen inside the RTOG volume, but it is outside the Estro. So they have seen this is the RTOG volume, and this is the Estro volume. So most of the recurrences are happening in this in between these two CTVs. So they have suggested a compromise CTV between these two so that they can prevent these recurrences, and as well as they can save they can reduce the dose, they can reduce the cardiac mean dose and the LAD mean dose. So most of the institutes follow this RTOG and distro compromised CTV. Uh, okay, so moving ahead with our nodal stations, first we will deal with the supraclavicular lymph nodes. Again, there is a nomenclature difference between the RTOG and estro. Estro uses terminology with the lymph node level 4 for the supraclav. We will discuss this supraclavicular lymph node station in detail. First, we will start with the RTOG cranial border. RTOG cranial border is just caudal to the cricoid cartilage. So first we will identify the cricoid cartilage, and we will slide till the we can see the last slide where we can see the cricoid cartilage. So this is the last slide where the cricoid cartilage is seen. So the very next slide will be our cranial border for the RTOG. So this slide, which is just caudal to the cricoid cartilage, is our cranial border for the RTOG supraclavicular lymph node station. Whereas in estro have includes the cranial extent of the supraclavicular artery. That is, it can be 5 mm from the subclavian vein as well. Um, so coming to the estro, first we need to identify the subclavian artery. Here, this is the subclavian artery, and so we should scroll up and see the cranial most extent of the subclavian artery, and the last slide where we see the subclavian artery will be our cranial border for the estro guidelines. So this is the slide. This is the cranial most part of the estro supraclavicular CTV. So the cranial border, okay. So the cranial borders between the estro and RTOG have a huge difference. I will show in the subsequent pictures. So now just moving ahead with the caudal border. Caudal border, we will in RTOG we will take it as a caudal edge of the clavicular head. So this is a slide we can see. This is last slide where we can see the clavicle head, and so this slide becomes my caudal border for the RTOG. But whereas in estro it for estro guidelines, we will first need to identify the subclavian vein. So first I need to identify the subclavian vein. Then I will contour it, and then I will give a 5 mm margin to the subclavian vein. So first I will contour it, and then I will give a 5 mm margin uh, to this vessel. So now the last slide where I can see this 5 mm margin on the subclavian vein will be the cord. This slide will be the caudal border of the estro supraclavicular node station. Okay. So here I will be contouring my caudal border of the estro according to the estro CTV. So moving ahead with the anterior border both RTOG and estro was similar. Both considered sternocleidomastoid. Sternocleidomastoid is taken as an anterior boundary of the RTOG, and even it is similar for the estro guidelines as well. There is no much difference between anterior anterior border in both these groups. So now coming to the posterior border. Posterior border, it is the it is the anterior aspect of the scalene muscle. That means we don't include the scalene muscle in our RTOG supraclav, but we RTOG supraclav. But whereas in estro we will include till the pleural surface. So in RTOG this is the scalene muscle. So my posterior border would be just anterior to the scalene muscle. So, and coming to the estro CTV, we will take till the till the pleura. Now coming to the lateral border in RTOG, it is cranially. We can see we will take it as a lateral edge of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and caudally we will take it as a junction between the first rib and the clavicle. So here we can see this is the lateral edge of the sternocleidomastoid, this is cranial part. Caudally, we will take it as a junction between the clavicle and the first rib. Here it is a junction, so this would be my the lateral border. Uh, Now coming to the estrolateral border, includes the scalene muscle here, and it connects to the CTV L3, uh, axillary level, station level 3 actually. So here this is a scalene muscle, and estro includes this border as well in their lateral border. So moving with the medial border of RTOG, in medial border we will exclude thyroid muscle as well as trachea. So here we can see this is the thyroid gland. We will exclude the thyroid gland and continue with our contouring of RTOG, and cranially and caudally we will just exclude the trachea and do our contouring. The most important and the main difference is that here we will include this carotid artery in our contour of the RTOG supraclav. Here we are just excluding the thyroid and trachea, but we will include the carotid artery here. This will be a difference in estro. In estro, they will include the jugular vein, and they exclude thyroid gland, trachea, and common carotid artery as well. So here we can say this is a jugular vein. Jugular vein is included in the CTV, but they have excluded this carotid artery. I mean, like they have also excluded the trachea as thyroid vessel as well. So here, when we can see the both the CTVs in a single picture, here we can see the smaller volume is an estro CTV. Here they have included the jugular vein, but they have excluded the carotid artery. But whereas estro, it is a bigger volume, and they have included the carotid artery here. So here we can see the RTOG is a much bigger volume and estro is a smaller volume comparatively. So the main difference in the supraclavicular lymph node is that the cranial limit in RTOG we will take till the cricoid cartilage. Here we will be taking till the cricoid cartilage, whereas in estro it only considers the subclavian vein and then gives a margin of 5 mm above and below and takes it as a caudal and the cranial and the caudal border. So this volume is much lesser than the RTOG volume. This importance we will be discussing in the tomorrow's class, and with reference to the pattern of recurrence tomorrow. So moving ahead with the levels of axillary lymph nodes. So all the axillary lymph nodes are based on the Burke's classification, that it is the location of the axillary vessels in relationship with the pectoralis minor muscle. So the level 1 station is just lateral to the pectoralis minor muscle, level 2 is just beneath it, and level 3 is medial to it. And all the atlases, whatever we have seen before, are all based on this classification itself. Moving ahead with our auxiliary level 1 station. So I won't be discussing in detail. I will just discuss regarding RTOG guidelines, and then I will just tell you the differences, how we differed from the RTOG and estro. So first, coming to the RTOG cranial border, here we will take the axillary vessels. Cranial border is taken at a slice where we can see the axillary vessels cross the pectoralis minor muscle. So here we can see the axillary vessel is crossing the pectoralis minor muscle laterally. So this would be my the cranial border. Cranial border. So the cranial border. The caudal border would be the slice at which the pectoralis major muscle is getting inserted into the sternal or the clavicular insertion. So again, so here the main difference between the RTOG and the RTOG and the estro would be, here estro also takes a consideration to the axillary vessels, but again they have given a 5 mm margin above the axillary vessels. But whereas in the 5 mm margin, that means there will be a slightly CTV is slightly higher than the RTOG CTV. Coming to the caudal border, here the pectoralis major muscle gets inserted at around sternal and the clavicular junction. But whereas here we are taking the level to rib 4 and 5, that is much lower. So this is the major difference. Major difference lies in this craniocaudal, uh, cranially and caudally. So, so no, so I can show in better. So here we can see the estro has a bigger volume. It is taking till here, but whereas in RTOG it ends up here. Here we can see the smaller, the pink one is the RTOG, and the larger one is the estro CTV. Coming to the medial border, medially we will take it as in a medial border of pectoralis minor muscle, and laterally till the medial border of latissimus dorsi. So here we will take the medial border as the medial border is lateral border of the pectoralis minor muscle, and laterally we will take the medial border of the latissimus dorsi. It is more or less similar with the estro as well. So coming to the anterior, it is the anterior border. It is the anterior surface of the pectoralis major and latissimus dorsi in RTOG. It is more or less similar in both the groups. Coming to the posterior border, again here lies a small difference. Here we will take the anterior surface of the subscapularis muscle in RTOG. So here we can see this is the subscapularis muscle, and we will take the our I mean like we will take our ventral or anterior border at this point. So this is our anterior boundary. Whereas in whereas in estro, we will draw a margin from our latissimus dorsi to the intercostal muscle. So we will draw a margin and we end up here. So there is a difference of this area, which is a difference between both the RTOG and estro guidelines. So summing up again, so here the cranial limit of level 1 is slightly higher. Estro cranial limit is slightly higher than the RTOG. Caudal limit in estro is more generous than the RTOG guidelines. Here, however, the posterior limit of the RTOG is much greater than the estro guidelines. In the pictures I have shown it. So again, we can see the cranial limit is slightly higher. The caudal limit of estro is much larger than the RTOG, whereas the posterior border of RTOG is slightly higher, slightly more compared to the estro CTV, estro posterior CTV. Okay. So moving ahead with the level 2 lymph nodal station. So again, here we will take the axillary vessels again into our consideration. Now, the place where the axillary vessels crosses the medial edge of the pectoralis minor muscle is considered as our cranial border, and the caudal border is where the axillary vessels cross the lateral edge. Uh, so this is this is the place where the vessels are crossing the lateral edge of the pectoralis minor muscle. So I can't find more pictures, sorry. So again, it is more or less sorry. Uh, So, however, similar to what we have seen in the level 1, again in the level 2 also, here in estro, they have taken a 5 mm margin to this axillary vessel. So, again, here also the cranial border will be a cranial border of estro guidelines will be slightly higher than the RTOG guidelines. Coming to the caudal boundary of this estro guidelines is that here we will take the caudal border of the pectoralis minor muscle, and if at all the patient has underwent the surgical ALND, we will take uh, the top of the surgical axillary lymph node dissection site. So again, if we see here, there is a here also the cranial and the caudal boundaries will make a large difference between the estro and RTOG guidelines. So coming to the medial border and lateral border, it is more or less similar in both these stations. In both these borders, medial border is a medial border of the pectoralis minor muscle, lateral border is a lateral border of the pectoralis minor muscle. So coming to the so I can show you. Medial border is a medial border of the pectoralis minor, and lateral border is a lateral border of the pectoralis minor muscle. So coming to the anterior border, it is the anterior surface of the pectoralis minor muscle. It is even the anterior surface is more or less similar. Only there is a difference in the wordings they use actually. So coming to the posterior border, here they have taken the margin just above the ribs and the intercostal muscles. That means we are not including the ribs and the intercostal muscles. Whereas here we can see the ribs and intercostal muscles are not included in the RTOG guidelines. Whereas in ESTRO guidelines, they have again taken the margin. Here the here we have taken the axillary vein, we have contoured and given a margin. The same margin they used here, and they contour till the 5 mm dorsal to this axillary vein. Sometimes it may include the intercostal and the costal muscles. That is whereas it is completely excluded in the RTOG. That is a very minor difference between there is I mean like it's almost like insignificant difference between both the guidelines. So this is an ESTRO guidelines. See, I mean, like it's sometimes the posterior border sometimes it is include, it extends into the intercostal muscles, and sometimes uh, they won't include actually. So when we see in comparison here, we can see the estro volume is very much high, very large compared to the RTOG. RTOG is very smaller comparatively. It takes, I mean, like only it will take into consideration where the axillary vessels cross the medial edge and the axillary vessels cross the lateral border of the pectoralis minor. Here the volume is very low. So to sum up again, what are the main difference in the axillary level 2 station? Sorry. So the level 1 is again level 2 in RTOG is relatively smaller when we compare with the ISRO, and similar to the level 1. Similar to the level 1 and level 2, RTOG is more generous posteriorly compared to the ESTRO guidelines. And level 2 in ESTRO guidelines, level 2 in ESTRO guidelines, they have a separate entity called as an interpectoral groups, whereas RTOG generally includes these interpectoral groups as a part of level 2 limb station. Okay. So moving ahead with the axilla level 3 nodal station. So here the cranial border would be the our pectoralis minor insertion on the coracoid process. So here we can see this is the coracoid process and this is my insertion of the pectoralis minor muscle. So this would be the cranial border. So the caudal border is again the plane where the axillary vessels cross the medial edge. This is the this is the cranial border of the axillary level 2, which will become the caudal border of the axillary level 3. Um, so so this is the border. This is my caudal border of the RTOG guidelines. Here we can see the axillary vessels across the medial border of the pectoralis minor muscle. So coming to the medial and the lateral borders, it is more or less same between these two guidelines. Here we will include, we will take the medial border at thoracic inlet, whereas in ESTRO guidelines, they will have like the one of the difference between the ESTRO and RTOG is that ESTRO has a continuity between all their lymph nodal stations, but RTOG there is a gap between their lymph nodal stations. I will show in the later pictures. Coming to the lateral border, it is the medial border of the pectoralis minor muscle. It is same in both of these guidelines. So here we can see this is the lateral border, which is the medial border of this pectoralis minor muscle. Coming to the anterior border is the posterior surface of the pectoralis major muscle. It is also again the same in both these groups. Here we can see the anterior border is the posterior surface of the pectoralis major muscle. Uh, Again, the posterior border here, we will exclude the ribs and the intercostal muscle, and again, ESTRO uses a 5 mm margin to their axillary vessels or to posterior the intercostal muscles. So again, we will include. So again, in RTOG, we will exclude this ribs and the intercostal muscles. Whereas here in Istro, they follow delineation of the axillary vessels and they give a margin to it, margin of 5 mm dorsal to it. So again, the main differences in the level 3 lymph nodes is that the cranial limit in RTOG is higher than the Istro. So here we can see the cranial limit of the RTOG is much higher than the Istro guidelines. Istro starts here, whereas an RTOG starts here. So the retroclavicular nodes are a part of a level 3 stations, but whereas this part of a lymph node, this part is not included in the RTOG, and this is very important, which we will discuss it in the tomorrow's class. It will impact our patterns of recurrence after some years actually. So this part is our retroclavicular nodal stations, which are excluded in the RTOG guidelines, whereas Istro includes this retroclavicular lymph node station. Okay. So coming to the moving ahead to the internal mammary nodes, here RTOG uses a simpler thing. It uses only the superior aspect of the first rib, and caudalite ends up till the cranial border of the fourth rib. So if we can see, sorry, here we can see they have taken only first rib to the fourth rib, and they have ended over here. So what they include in the RTOG is that they will all anterior border they will take till the ribs and the intercostal space, and posterior they take the pleura. That means the volume is smaller. Only the space between the pleural and the intercostal muscles they will contour it. But what happens in the Istro guidelines? Istro, the cranial border, they have continuation with the supraclavicular lymph nodes. As I said before, there is a continuation between all the nodal stations in the Istro guidelines, but there is a lack of continuation in the RTOG guidelines. Here, the cranial border would be my caudal limit of the supraclavicular lymph nodes of Istro guidelines. Here again, the caudal border will remain the same, and the main difference is that we don't give any margin in RTOG group medially or laterally, but whereas in Istro group we will first identify the internal mammary vessels, internal mammary artery, and then we give a 5 mm margin to it. So that means we have a bigger volume in Istro compared to the RTOG. Both the next, I mean, like even anterior and the posterior borders remains the same for the RTOG and Istro. So if you can see, this is the internal mammary vessel, and now I have taken a 5 mm margin to it. So my volume in Istro would be a much larger in craniocaudary direction, as well as in the mediolateral direction as well. To sum up my differences in the internal mammary lymph nodes is that Istro guidelines have a larger CTV compared to the RTOG. RTOG considers in only internal mammary vessels. They don't take any margin from it. Whereas Istro takes a 5 mm margin around these vessels. In RTOG, it extends till the first intercostal space, and we don't extend beyond the first intercostal space. But whereas in Istro internal mammary CTV, we extend superiorly till the subclavian artery. That means we need to connect it with the supraclavicular lymph node station. So for this connection, we are including till the subclavian vein. So here we can see in RTOG we are including till this level, till the subclavian vein. But whereas we are ending up over here. Again, in the mediolateral direction also, we can observe that RTOG is a little bit smaller compared to the Istro guidelines. Again, this will become a very prominent importance when we will discuss in the subsequent class tomorrow. So here we can see this is in Istro guidelines, this is the axillary level 1, 2, 3, followed by in a level 4, that is a supraclavicular lymph node station, which is much smaller, as you can see, but it has but IMN, we can see it is a much larger. It has a continuation and it extends till here. This one is an extended IMN. It is not regularly contoured, but we can see there is a continuity between all these lymph nodal stations. So we can see there is a continuity in all the lymph nodal stations. But whereas in RTOG, the main drawback in the RTOG is that uh, there is a continuation between the level 1, level 2, and level 3 nodal stations, but the continuation lacks over in the, I mean, there is no continuation between the supraclavicular lymph nodes and the RTOG level 1. Uh, RTOG, sorry, in axillary lymph node level 3, sorry. Level 3. So there is a lack of continuation. So this area could be a possible site for a recurrence when we follow only RTOG guidelines. So here we can see there is a good connection between all this axillary level 1, level 2, and level 3. So here there is a no continuation between the level 3 and level 1. Even for the IMN, sorry. Even for the IMN, there is a no connection. I couldn't have a better picture actually, but even for IMN, there is a no connection. So here we can see a good connection between the IMN and supraclav in East row, but the connection of this area would be lacking in the RTOG. I can't. I mean, like. So I mean, like we have discussed all the breast, chest wall, and the nodal stations, and we had a comparison between the both the guidelines. So actually, like which guidelines do we actually really? I mean, like which guidelines is ideal? Actually, we don't have any answer for it. Which guidelines is ideal? Then comes a question: which guidelines should we really follow? Many of the institutes follow a combination of both RTOG and East-RO. Even we follow the same. It is a combination of both RTOG and East-RO guidelines. So, do we have any specific consensus that which contouring guidelines should we follow? Because in especially in the lymph nodal delineation, the delineation in BCS is we have considered the same nodal delineation, and even in the mastectomy we have taken the same delineation. There is we didn't take any consideration to the pathology or high risk factors. We didn't take any consideration of these factors. We just contoured according to the bony landmarks in the RTOG, and we just contoured according to the vessel based. I mean, like in both the cases, we haven't taken into any consideration of the pattern of recurrence or any risk factors associated with the patients. So, so which guidelines should we really follow? That is a major question. There is a practical review by Tron Group, which we would be discussing tomorrow. It gives a light over these areas. I mean, they have suggested um, a few recommendations where we should follow an East-RO, where we should follow RTOG, where we should do something else. That we will discuss in the tomorrow's class. Uh, Thank you for today.
Thank you, Indira. It was an excellent presentation. You have described all the differences between the contours very nicely. Should we? Is there anything that we should repeat? Uh, so, Indira, can you just summarize the differences between the chest wall contours and the residual breast contour, and the just the differences between the Eastro and the RTOG
Yes, sir.
guideline? Please
Yes, sir.
summarize in one word.
Yes, sir. I mean, like in the breast wall, there is no much significance, sir. Actually, even if we follow RTOG and Destro, it doesn't make much difference. Only difference is that skin is included in the RTOG, and 5 margin is taken in the Estro guidelines. But the major difference will come when we contour post mastectomy patients. Here, the posterior border is a major point, because in the posterior border in RTOG, we are including the pectoralis major and minor muscles. We are including the chest wall muscles, and even the ribs. So we are taking our dorsal border till the pleural surface. So we are actually increasing our dose to the heart and our left anterior descending artery, especially if it is a left breast cancer. Whereas in Estro, we will exclude this pectoral group of muscles. We exclude the chest wall and the ribs, and 5 margin is taken. So here the main difference would be a posterior border, which is more important. Coming to the supraclav, the main difference would be our cranial border in the RTOG is much higher, and it is a much bigger volume when compared to the Estro. Estro has a very smaller volume. Hello.
Okay. Okay, so we will be taking some questions. There's only one question that I see. What are the indications of axillary artery?
Indications of axillary artery. Is indication of axillary artery with any lymph node with extensive extracapsular extension, and when the sentinel lymph node is positive and the lymph node dissection is not done, and when we haven't there is an inadequate axillary dissection, and a high risk group without any axillary dissection.
Okay, Indira, would you please unshare your screen? I just want to show
Yes,
one
sir.
slide, whatever we have explained.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is essentially what this whole chart is taken from Perez. It is in the textbook. So the indications, like Dr. Indira explained, for axilla would be inadequate axillary dissection. So essentially, axilla should be treated by one modality. We should not. Radiation. If axilla is not addressed, radiation is not exactly an alternative for axillary nodal dissection. However, if there are if the axillary dissection wasn't done properly, and there are other indications like extensive extracapsular extension, and there's a high risk of uh, axillary recurrence, but axillary nodal involvement more than 10 to 15%, but axillary has not been addressed, then in those cases, axilla should be taken into consideration to be treated with RT.
Even one sentinel lymph node, if it is positive and no dissection done, should we proceed with axillary RT, sir?
If sentinel lymph node is if sentinel lymph node is positive, we ideally the sentinel lymph node should be treated, and axilla to be addressed by surgery. If you cannot address the axilla by a surgical modality, then you need to treat axilla with radiation.
Okay, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Riddhi, just one point to mention that even though the book teaching is that nodal burden with extensive extracapsular extension is an indication for axillary radiation, but it is not practiced everywhere routinely, because the expert says that most likely these patients are going to recur systemically rather than locally before it comes to axillary region. So even though extensive extracapsular extension is an indication for axillary resection, it is not practiced routinely everywhere. It's based on individual basis, basically.
Even
Yes,
as far
sir.
as I know, in TMH also, no axillary radiation is given, even if it is not positive
Exactly, sir.
with extracapsular extension. But Indira, as if you summarize, we follow your presentation that RTOG field is in general bigger, except the internal mammary in general bigger than astro. Now, what is the philosophy behind it? I hope it will be discussed tomorrow. But
Yes, sir.
can you give a hint?
Sir,
Why?
sir, because like, sir, archaeology follows the bony landmarks and the muscles, so it generally takes a bigger volume actually. Whereas in ISRO, it is
Why?
a vessel-based.
I think it will be discussed tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I mean, like today, I mean, like tomorrow, it will be discussed. I mean, what are the differences between? I mean, like what are the major differences between ISRO and RTOG, where both the two guidelines fail in covering the pattern of recurrences also, sir. Tomorrow, I mean, like where we need an extra boundaries, extra margins apart from this ISRO and RTOG. Tomorrow, I
No,
will be
I
discussing.
want to know what is the philosophy behind it. Why RTOG gives a bigger field than astro? Is that it definitely must have a relation with the pattern of recurrence, isn't it?
I mean, like, what I mean, like, I have read is that they have just taken volumes similar to the 2D contouring. So they haven't taken any consideration of recurrence pattern, both the ISRO and RTOG. They have just taken uh, only the bony. I mean, like 2D planning field borders, and they have given their guidelines for RTOG.
RTOG.
Sir, I think so.
Uh,
It's because ISRO guidelines are mainly for intended for ISRO guidelines
Early
are not
breast
intended
cancer.
for locally advanced diseases. They are mainly for early diseases, whereas the RTOG guidelines can be used even for locally advanced diseases. That's why RTOG, in by and large, RTOG has taken more generous volume as compared to the ISRO, sir. Because ISRO is mainly intended for early diseases.
right. Could be. We have to follow also the pattern of recurrence. I think tomorrow you will give some,
Yes,
you will
sir. I mean, like
show
tomorrow I will be discussing what are
some
the pattern
data
of
on the
recurrences,
pattern of recurrence.
then what guidelines should we really follow for the different cases, sir?
And what we practice usually is the combination of both the guidelines, I think, because
Yes,
we
ma'am.
we don't stick to
Yeah, that's it.
any single type of guideline.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think it's both, and then do it according to our convenience.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Is there any if there is any gross node in axillary or supraclavicular region, what dose should be given? Gross node in axillary or supraclavicular region. The dose remains the same. We do not change the dose based on the nodal involvement or not. It's just we decide whether to treat the regional nodal sites or not. So the dose would be the same. Initially, when hypofractionation started, the uh, uh, people were not comfortable treating with a hypofractionated regime to the regional nodal sites. But even now, we are treating the nodes in a 40 grain 15 fraction dose regimen where we are treating the regional lymph nodes. If there is a gross node in axilla or supraclavicular region or not, that essentially decides decides the surgical uh, uh, the surgical strategy. If or there is already a gross node, there is no need of doing a central lymph node biopsy. You would directly go ahead and do a axillary lymph node dissection, and then and then go ahead with if the nodes comes out to be positive, we'll be also treating the supraclavicular lymph node. Okay. So we will end this
Yeah.
session. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Any other questions?
sir, may I?
Yeah, please, please.
Sir, in both the RTOG and the S.O.R.O guidelines, there is no concept of a PTV for the volumes. But while we do contour the boost cavity, we do put a PTV for that.
Yeah, for boost cavity, in our institute, we usually treat the boost cavity with electrons. We can do an SIB with while doing a boost cavity, and then there are different contouring when you go into a boost cavity, the things change. Here we are talking about mainly talking about uh, uh, the the chest wall and the breast contours. Whenever we are treating with if you're planning to treat the boost cavity with photons, that brings a lot of complexities. But it is true that in none of the guidelines we consider PTV. The CTV the plan would be done on the CTV itself.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had asked that question regarding a gross node in the supraclavicular and axillary region. If it is not surgically amenable, usually supraclavicular node would not be surgically amenable, then is 50 gray enough or you should proceed up to 60 gray? Hello. Hello.
Yeah. So if there is a gross, if there is a gross node that we have left left behind in the supraclavicular region, in that
Yeah.
case we would not be going ahead with the hyperfractionated regimen. We would be treating it with 50 gray and 25 with additional
Okay,
boost
so
to the node.
gross node. Okay.
With additional boost to the gross node, yes. So if if the gross node has not been removed, then obviously we would not hyperfractionate. And you are right, 1525 might not be enough to completely obliterate that gross node. And in that case, we would have
Yeah.
to give a boost dose to the gross node.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all. We are ending the session.